Right. Okay. So Lady Gaga is one of your favorite speakers. Very interesting. I did see one performance of Lady Gaga, which was live, and she was singing on a piano, and that was unbelievable. I think there's a recording on YouTube as well of her singing. I forgot the name of the song. I think it was just one in the last 1 to 2 years. It just takes your breath away. It was so good. And she captures the audience's attention with that special quality, that special talent, that special skill that she has. Okay, let's look at the other answers here. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, yes. She turned into a billionaire, actually. One of the interesting stories about Oprah Winfrey was her dad forced her to read one book a day and summarize it within a few minutes in the evening. So every evening, she had to summarize whatever she read and she had to give a talk. And that's how she did it for the longest time. And that developed this ability to go through a lot of content very quickly, being able to summarize it and being able to bring the most important points out and see where she is. So there are a few practices like this that can change your life. We will go through some of these practices, and you will get links to all these practices and exercises that I'm talking about. Um, Obama, yes, absolutely. I think there was a speech by Obama, Yes, we can. I think that's something that everybody remembers, Gia. There was also the speech, I think, when he was leaving the White House, and people were going through this big grief because that was the first time Trump became president. And there was a lot of grief in the White House staff, especially. So he gave a talk just before that, and I think it's still on YouTube. It was a very moving talk. And one of the things he said was, regardless of what happens, I promise you the sun will shine tomorrow. Meaning that no matter how much we worry about things, we will survive and life will go on. Um, who else? Oprah Winfrey, yes, you can't forget her words. I agree with you. Obama and Oprah Winfrey are really favorites here. Sachina, Sachinandana Swami, a spiritual teacher. I will go and look him up. Um, Steve Jobs, moving and motivating. I completely agree. You know, some of the best videos of Steve Jobs, you can find them on internet, where he is talking about how you make a dent in the universe. And one of the things he says is that no matter what you believe to be true, you are the architect of that. And you can stretch the boundaries of reality. You can reshape reality for yourself. And there are gatherings where, even before they formed Apple, I think it was the company was called Next, if I'm not mistaken. They got a group of these senior executives, and they're all sitting in a hall, right? And everybody is sitting on the floor, and there's all these pillows, and everybody is looking with serious intention, and they're looking at Steve Jobs. And you can see the charisma with which he speaks. Yeah, and yes, we all know his famous iPod release and how he released the iPhone, and those are all really annals and history. Brené Brown, yeah, Brené. Yes, Soraya. I think Brené Brown is known for her, talks about vulnerability. I think she cried during a TED talk, and that became a big hit, right? It became a big sensation. It got so many millions of views, and that actually made her famous. And she went on this spree of writing books. Denzel Washington, very interesting. Denzel Washington. Lucas, why Denzel Washington? He is not really known as a speaker. Are you referring to some movie? If so, let us know which movie you're talking about so we can go and watch it. Yeah. Jim Carrey. I found some of his speeches inspiring. Jim Carrey is really a talent. Yeah, and you can see that when he was young, he would come on stage and he would make all these funny noises. And some of the best videos to watch are the times when he was young. And what made him famous was his ability to bring laughter to people's faces. And the story goes that Jim Carrey had his mother, and apparently he had only his mother, and she would be suffering from these bouts of depression. So she would be kind of lying there on the bed and not moving and so on. And Jim Carrey, they had this two-story building. Jim Carrey would often come down the stairs and he would hold the railing and he would, uh, glance at her, and she would be lying down on this bed and she would kind of appear very depressed. Now, one of the things he decided was whenever he wanted to come down, he wanted to do something funny for her. So he would act as if he fell down from the stairs and as if he broke his jaw. And he would act as if he injured himself just to bring a smile on his mother's face. That's how he developed most of his skills. There's a lot to be talked about Jim Carrey, actually. He's really quite a character. Um, Mark says Jim Carrey is very articulate, authentic, and humble when he expresses his personal opinions. Very true. I really like Jim Carrey as well. There's a lot of good movies that he starred in, and there was this famous thing where he, even before he started his acting career, he carried this note in his wallet, and that note was kind of like a fake check, and it was a check for $10 million. You can go and watch the story. He talks about it. And he was carrying a check for $10 million, and it says, for your services in acting. And eventually, he went on to make more than $10 million per movie. That's a whole new dimension, right? How do you then create reality? How do you change reality? That's a conversation for another day. Yeah. Excellent. So, let me know what are some of the challenges you face when it comes to public speaking. Let me clarify. If you solved this issue of public speaking, what would the result look like? For example, you might say, my biggest fear of public speaking is I know my content, but the moment I go on stage, I forget it. Yeah. You might say, I know the content, I have the slides, but people say, it's kind of monotonous. And if everything goes well, I would be able to capture people's attention. Help me understand what's your challenge, yeah, so that we can focus and spend some time on that part of it. Um, what is your challenge? You can type it in the comment section here, and I'll slowly pull up our presentation as well. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Start. Struggle to start. Fear before starting. Very good. Okay, so we can focus on a few exercises on that. I'll give you a few techniques, and that should help. So we can, I mean, I didn't make a slide on it, but it's good that you tell me that. Yeah, so we'll focus a little bit on that. And don't worry, there is also this recording. Yeah, this is why it's really important when you come in, when you show up, and when you're live. I can really understand where you guys want me to focus on. Yeah, and we can cover that in more detail. Um, I don't find my speech engaging. Okay. Shamin, help me understand a little bit more. I don't find my speech engaging. Do you mean you are kind of monotonous, or do you find yourself struggling to make the um, topic interesting? Or is it that when you look at the audience, somehow they're all falling asleep? What is the issue there? Yeah. Um, I am very fearful sometimes. Mark says, I'm very fearful sometimes to be very straight with my beliefs, especially if they are not conventional. Well, Mark, probably there's some wisdom to it. Because, we live in a world where there are different types of intelligence. Yeah. So they say that the first type of intelligence is when you learn to survive by yourself. Yeah. So you can survive by yourself. That is the first level of intelligence. So you can make money, you can, set things up and you can survive. The second level of intelligence is to survive in a community. That requires a higher intelligence. This is something that people struggle to understand. Trying to gauge the audience sometimes will make a huge difference in whether your speech lands or not. For example, you might have the best speech, and in the US, they have Democrats and Republicans, right? If you go and talk about, a topic that's a big hit with the Democrats, but if you go and talk about it to the Republicans, it's not going to fly, right? The reason is, even though there's nothing wrong with your message, there's nothing wrong with your thinking. Your thinking is your thinking, right? And you're entitled to have your beliefs. The problem there is that the audience is not too receptive and their beliefs are too strong. So if you impose your beliefs too strongly, you have this clash. Yeah. You have this clash. If their beliefs are opposite, your beliefs are opposite, you suddenly have a clash and it's not worthwhile. Yeah. So there is some wisdom in waiting, taking a step back and assessing the beliefs of the other person or the beliefs of the audience that you are going to speak to. They always say, when you're in Rome, be a Roman. There's wisdom to that. Yeah. Um, okay. Anxiety and fear of judgment. Sean says anxiety and fear of judgment. They did this study and they asked people, what are you most afraid of? And in most polls, fear of public speaking is right there at the top. It's either right there at the top or it's amongst the top three challenges that people face. The reason is, when you go and stand on a stage, there is this flood of consciousness. There is this room that is open for judgment. People can watch you and they can judge you. And that can be frightening, right? Because you don't know what people are thinking. But I promise you, once you learn the techniques, once you learn what you can do, you will begin to enjoy this presence. You will begin to enjoy this flood of consciousness, and you will learn to play the game with perfection, almost with perfection. Stage fright, yeah, that's similar as well. Shia says, okay. Shaman says, sometimes the flow seems everywhere. Sometimes the flow seems everywhere. Okay, so I think we have a solution to that. I will talk about it in the 3 point technique, yeah, today. Um, uh, Being concise, ability to develop. Am says, being really concise, ability to deliver message quickly, audience management, setup, and deliver message at the right moment. Okay, so I think we will cover this point as well. It's very good that you bring it up because with the rise of AI, content is easy, right? You just need to understand your audience. You can have your prompts, and you can come up with so much, so much content. But what is it that people want to hear? The human attention span is short. It's really short, right? People like to behave that like they are looking at you, but you know what? Sometimes people are looking at you and they are kind of switched off. Okay, switch back on. Monotonous, Charmaine says, yes, we will deal with monotonous, and I have a few exercises for you. Ram says, stage fear and fear of judgment. Yes. Lucas says, issue on how to convey a message the best way possible. And my heart starts racing moments just before talking. Very interesting, Lucas. It's not an unusual phenomenon. We have a small section on this today. Forget SK says, forgetting prepared content. Uh, okay, but it's good if you at least show up, right? Well, you forget your content, but you still show up, and I hope you have your slides and you just begin to utter words and it all starts to flow, right? So don't worry about it. We will solve that in a moment. When you need to share something in a second language, often feel nervous and lack of confidence. True. Michelle, I think that requires a little bit of special work because a language is a different beast. Yeah. I would suggest that you practice speaking with a native English speaker, either that or you practice speaking with AI. Um, you can speak with a native English speaker by going to there are many websites where you can learn English, or just say learn English online and or practice English online. And you have to pay obviously by the hour, and you can practice with good native English speakers. Um, Attract the audience's attention. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so there was one thing that came up, which is stage fright and fear of judgment. What I would like to do now is, even before we get started, I was not planning to do this, but I will do this anyway, so that you benefit from this. Yeah. So what I'd like you to do is whatever you're doing right now, just take a moment, step back, pause. Yeah, pause. I'm going to show you an exercise from hypnotherapy and NLP that when you do it just before going on a stage, you will increase your confidence level, you will increase your power of delivery at least by 30 to 50%. Yeah. So what I'd like you to do now, I'm going to show you two exercises. Yeah. The first one, the first one is called connecting hearts. Connecting hearts. Okay. What I'd like you to do is close your eyes for a moment and think about a friend or a person that you feel very comfortable talking with. Okay? Now imagine that the person there has an energy. There is a certain color of energy to the person. It could be green, it could be blue. What is the energy and the color that you feel between the person and you? Imagine there is a connection going from your heart to that person's heart. The person that you feel very comfortable with. Imagine you're sitting and talking to them. There is a connection between you and the other person. It connects from your heart to their heart. It's like an energy beam. And that energy beam has a certain color to it. Look at that color. Now, I would like you to take all that color. Imagine it's becoming a ball. Imagine that energy that you have with this person. Imagine it's like an energy ball. Now imagine taking this energy ball and putting it into yourself, this good energy that you have. Imagine putting this energy ball into yourself and let that energy go all throughout your body, making you feel good. Now, the next time you go out into a public speaking event, it could be just a conversation with another person. I would like you to imagine that this energy is coming out of your chest area. This colorful energy is coming out of your chest area. and it's going and touching the people that are present there. And it forms this connection with their heart. When I teach this exercise to people, there are different variations to it. People say there are very different responses they see. Yeah. There was one person who said that they were usually a quiet person. People used to think they are a very serious person. They did this exercise, and he said that the moment he walked on stage, he had this very comfortable smile on this face. And people immediately responded. They all started smiling. And he said that that was actually one of the most peaceful and one of the most connected talks that he's ever given. So practice it in different forms. Yeah. So that's exercise number one. Exercise number one. Exercise number two, this is called fractionation. Those of you who have studied NLP or worked with a hypnotherapist or worked with um, good psychiatrists, you might have already experienced this to some level and degree. Milton Erickson developed this. And for this, you need to be ideally standing in your room, standing in your room. Now, because I am close to the mic, I cannot stand, but whenever you need to do this exercise just before a talk, just 10 minutes before a talk, do this exercise. Imagine there is a straight line in front of you, a straight line in front of you. And imagine there are 5 steps that you can take. This is your confidence scale. With every step that you take forward, I would like you to imagine that your confidence increases by 15%. Now take that step forward, step into that spot, and feel that increase in your confidence. And as you soak into that confidence, I would like you to collect all that energy and take another step forward. And this is going to boost your confidence again. Now, as you allow yourself to soak in that energy, take a moment to gather all that energy and take another step forward. Imagine you're taking another step forward. Just notice how you feel. Now, I'd like you to gather all of that and take one more step forward, one more step on that confidence scale. How confident can you really become? In a moment, you are going to go to the final step on the scale, which signifies the maximum confidence that you have ever experienced. In a moment, imagine that you take that step forward and step into that spot where you feel so confident, you feel so empowered. You can feel your presence, the real you. Now, take all that energy and feel it. If you had to give a color to this energy, imagine what this color would be. And imagine this is a bubble that is surrounding you, a bubble that protects you and fills you with confidence. Okay, so come back to the moment in time. How do you guys feel? Give me one word. How do you feel? You can type in the chat section here. I'd like to hear from you. What do you feel? Calm, still of mind, lighter, light, more connected, calm. Excellent. Peaceful. Very interesting. Shara says relaxed. Very nice. So, what I'd like you to do is before you, these are simple exercises, right? The first one we talked about was about thinking about a person that you really enjoy talking to. There is a color of energy that connects you and them. Both the hearts are connected. What is the color of that energy? Form it into a ball, take it deep within you. And as you go onto the stage, imagine projecting it and connecting with every single person in the audience. The second exercise we did was to boost your confidence. We talked about the confidence scale. There were 5 steps in this confidence scale. As you progress further, your confidence increases. And at step 5 is the maximum confidence you ever felt. Isn't it interesting that when you are at the peak of the confidence scale, so many of you actually say you feel relaxed, peaceful, calm, lighter, calm, still of mind. Very interesting. Uh, That is something to notice, take note of. Yeah. It is not aggressive energy when you're most confident, but rather you're feeling calm and light. Excellent. So let's get started with our presentation today. And can you guys just let me know, do you see my slides here? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, SK and Sophia. Okay. So here we are going to talk about confident and impactful public speaking, how to unlock your professional voice. Yeah. So what are we going to do? We did the introduction. We are going to talk a little bit about the power of public speaking, how to unlock it. We are going to understand your motivations. Then we are going to go into 2 main areas of public speaking: voice physiology and speech crafting. Okay. Now, what is your motivation to speak better? There are 2 lists that you'll see on the screen. On the left side are the toward values. These are positive outcomes that motivate you to speak. It could be career advancement, it could be sharing expertise, it could be inspiring others, it could be building your brand and your reputation. Remember this, this skill is going to become more and more and more valuable in the next few years. And the reason is with AI, there is no more boundaries to creating content. There is really no boundaries to creating content anymore. There are softwares to even create beautiful slides with just one prompt. Yeah, that is the world we are living in today, and it will just keep getting that way more and more and more. So, your ability to have content is not going to differentiate you from anybody else. Everybody has content. Remember this now. Everybody has content. But the way in which you deliver your content will decide whether you stay and you make an impact on people, or whether you will be forgotten with the masses. I hope that you will be one of those powerful people that can motivate others. Yeah. So then there are away from values. So obviously, you don't want embarrassment, you don't want criticism, you don't want to make mistakes, and you don't want to appear nervous. So there is this saying, I'm sure you heard this, and it goes something like this. Oh, that person is such a good speaker, even though this person, really does all the hard work. That person will just go, they will speak really well, they'll just present, and they're going to capture the audience, and they get all the attention, right? It's a very common thing. It's a very common thing. And then people say, well, that person, all they can do is just, really talk well. That's their trademark. But you need two things. You need to talk well, and you also need to have substance. So these are two different things. So to talk well, it's all the mechanics of voice, mechanics of intonation, mechanics of diction. Yeah, so we will go into that a little bit. Then there is the story crafting and content crafting. How do you do that? Yeah. So here's what we are going to talk about. The first half, we are going to talk about vocal physiology. Vocal physiology. This includes the use of your diaphragm, your breath support, the vibration of your vocal cords, and the resonance. Okay. I want you to do this exercise with me. Okay. I want you to hum. Okay. I want you to hum and feel the hum in your head. It's your head voice. Okay, do this. Notice where the sound is coming from. Okay, it's from somewhere here. Now, I would like you to say from your throat. From your throat. Say This is the throat voice. Okay. Now, I would like you to place your hand on your chest and do this. Say, see how low you can go. Okay, so we are going to do this exercise. What we are going to do, we are going to do this. So it's moving from your right from your diaphragm. It's going to your chest. It goes to your throat and it goes to your head. Yeah, imagine it's as if it's a rocket that's taking off. The lowest voice is in your diaphragm. Okay, let's try that again. We start in the diaphragm, in your belly almost, then we go up. And as we go up, the voice becomes higher. Okay, we'll start. One, two, three. Okay. You get that? Now we will do the reverse. Okay, we will start high and we will go low. Okay, start in the head voice. We will start high and we will go low. Ah. You get that, right? So once you get your diaphragm to your diaphragm, I want you to place your hands on your diaphragm here, okay? And do this. Okay? Try that again. You need to feel the vibration here in your diaphragm. Now, notice what happens to the voice. The voice starts to drop. Try reading a sentence now. You will see that your voice is from here. So, understanding the different types of voice, will help you modulate your intonation. So I'm going to show you a simple sentence, okay? Let's take any simple sentence. Try this, okay? Can I borrow your car? That's the sentence. Okay, can I borrow your car? We will try emphasizing one word at a time. Okay, so I'm going to emphasize the first word. Can I borrow your car? That's the emphasis on can. Now I'm going to place the emphasis on the second word. Can I borrow your car? Moving to the third word. Can I borrow your car? Fourth word. Can I borrow your car? Fifth word. Can I borrow your car? Do you see the difference in intonation? So these are some exercises that you can do. You need to vary your intonation. Just take a simple sentence and just keep on doing this. Just keep on repeating it. Let's say you have about 20 minutes or 30 minutes before you need to give a talk. Just take a book, read aloud, and pick one word or two words from each sentence to raise your intonation. Again, we will do that sentence, but this time I'm not going to say word one, word two, word three, word four. Okay, but I'm going to emphasize on word one first, then word two next, three, four, and five. Okay, the sentence is, can I borrow your car? 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 You can do this with two intonation raises. Can I borrow your car? Okay, so this is something that will help you get the attention of people. This is something that will help you break that monotone. Yeah. If you record yourself, and I highly recommend that you do this, just take any kind of a simple app that allows you to record and just talk about something that you just know about or you want to talk about, and look at how you sound, and tune in now and listen to which words are monotonous and where do you raise your intonation. Okay, so that is a little bit about vocal physiology. And remember to always sound more honest, authentic, and reliable. Place your voice in the chest. Place your voice in the chest. Speak from here. Speak from your chest. It's going to take some practice. If you want to practice this, take a book and read with your chest voice. Challenge yourself to read only with your chest voice. Okay. So that's a little bit about voice physiology. Now we will go into speech crafting. Yeah, we will talk about four different styles based on your audience. So first, understand your audience. A business talk will not land in comedy. Yeah, that's true. A business talk will not land in a birthday party. That's true. You need to look at your audience and think about what is more receptive to them. Okay, so first you understand the audience and you assess the style. And based on that, you have four different types of content creation. Okay, the first one is called format method. The second one is called 3-point storytelling. The third one is called quotes telling. And the fourth one is called story crafting, or, as people know it as storytelling. Or you can mix and match all of these things. Now, here's the kicker. The best well-paid speakers, for every 1 hour of content they produce, they practice for 100 hours. There's 100 hours of preparation. They become such an expert. And it's almost as if Einstein says, let what you speak be just the tip of how much you know. That's the level of preparation that people put in. Now, For a good speech, I usually would recommend a ratio of 1 is to 25, which means to deliver, and this is usually in a business context, or because I assume that people want to do well, and that's where you are going to make most of your money and so on. Um, if it's a serious talk, it's high stakes. 1 is to 25, which means for every 1 minute of talk, you need to look at 25 minutes of preparation time. This includes, your research, your content, your slide creation, your rehearsal, and so on. Yeah. For 10 minutes, it'll be obviously 250 minutes, so about 4 hours of training for 10 minutes of content, 4 hours. 20 minutes, 8 hours. 30 minutes, 12 hours. 40 minutes, 16 hours. You see how that works? Now imagine if you put in 4 hours for a 10-minute talk, it includes rehearsal, by the way, and timing yourself. When you go on stage and when you deliver that, speech, people will be awed. Yeah. I've seen this reaction countless number of times. Believe me when I tell you, remember this rule. Okay. It's always good to over practice and then go out there and deliver that talk. And the second thing is, there are two ways of talking, right? You can always wing it, and sometimes it actually comes out pretty well. If you're a good speaker and if you train your voice, no matter what you say, it's always going to land. You just need 3 to 4 points, and I'll show you how to do that. But it's always good to be well rehearsed. Yeah. Now, if you need to create presentations, I mentioned, there are softwares where you can make stunning presentations. Go to this website. It's called gamma.app. It allows you to create very beautiful PowerPoint presentations. Okay. Um, Now, another thing you want to do is look at the setup, what you call the setup. If you're going to give a talk on a stage, make sure before the event, you're standing on the stage, you're looking at different types of audiences, how you will move your face, you'll move your gaze while you're on the stage, how you will walk. Yeah, walk up and down. Go look, sit in the audience chair and look at the stage and see what they are seeing from different angles. Notice the lighting. Where does the light come from? Yeah, you usually want the light to be from the front, and you want to be facing the lighting. Yeah. So if you have flexibility, when people say, oh, let's sit here and talk, or let's sit there and talk, make sure you sit in a place where light hits your face. Okay. So those are just some quick tips there. Now, developing your chest voice for impact. So we talked about diaphragmatic breathing. So there are two types of breath. One is the belly breath. When we are born as babies, we always breathe from our belly. Yeah, just look at a newborn or a baby. It's always moving its belly because that's the natural form of breathing. As we grow up, we move from belly breathing to sometimes chest breathing or even shallow breathing. Yeah. But for good speaking, you need to be able to speak from your belly, and that requires practice. Yeah. So focus on diaphragmatic breathing, breathing from your tummy. Okay. So if you're going to give a talk in 30 minutes, take your hand, place your hand on your belly, and just breathe. Okay. Resonance, projection, and voice drills. So here's a link I want to share with you. So these are direct links. You please copy them, and I'll just put it in the chat here. Um, Let me just bring that up. I'll just stop sharing for a moment. Um, and I just want to show you a few things here. Yeah? The first thing. Hello and welcome. Okay, so let me share the screen again now. I'm putting it in the chat here. I'm going to place all the links in the chat, actually. There are 3 links, 3 free YouTube videos. I'd like you to go and watch. Okay, make sure that you copy and paste it somewhere. Please don't lose these links. Yeah, this is going to be very useful. It's going to be a game changer for you. Okay. So what do you need to do with these links? Click on the link, go to the YouTube video, and there are vocal practice exercises. Okay, vocal practice exercises. Don't do it now. Don't do it now. If you if you're really curious, go click on it, and yeah, you can look at it later. But make sure you just save all these links. Okay, the first one. Let me see if I can share my screen. Share some. So video sharing, share screen. Okay, let's see. So here you will see the first one is a 10-minute vocal warm-up exercise. This is something you can do every day. Okay, so
we've got a complete vocal warm-up for you that should leave you feeling energized, grounded, and connected to your instrument.
So you can listen to her voice and how crystal clear it is. Okay, so she's going to walk you through the entire vocal warm-up. Okay, I'll just kind of move through this entire video just so you can kind of briefly look through what it looks like.
Simon? All right, we're gonna start by doing some sirens. So this is what a siren is. That's just one example. I want you to do your hands here. To help things along, go for it. You can think to help address tension on your tongue. So what we're gonna be doing is sticking our tongues out like this, and we're gonna sing. So the bottom of my lip is vibrating, my tongue is just relaxing. I cannot take your breath. There you go. Now, if you want access to that lesson on.
Okay, so that's just, about 7 to 8 minutes. That's it. Okay, so that's one training. Now, let me take you to another training. Sorry, for some reason. Let's go to the other one. Okay, so
how
this
can
is
I make
when...
my voice sound deeper? You've probably asked yourself this question because you've heard people say that a deeper voice sounds more attractive, builds trust, and
siren. The siren is simply just doing sounds that sound like a siren. And you can do this with words, or you can do this with sound. The siren technique is essentially...
Okay, so there you can see, a few of these vocal exercises, and this is very, very important. I cannot emphasize this enough. You can have the perfect presentation. If you don't practice your voice, you will not have the impact you want to have. Just a minute. And I promise you this, yeah? If you do these exercises, these vocal warm-ups, it will completely change the way you speak. Now, there are a series of these things, especially when I work with people and they want to learn public speaking, and I'm coaching them, and I'm kind of helping them prepare the content, the delivery, and adjust their voice, their posture, moving their intonation, and so on. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes of practice for your vocal cords to find its tone. Yeah, imagine you're going to a gym and you're just doing light weights. Okay, just light weights, maybe 3 kgs, 4 kgs, 5 kgs, whatever have you. Yeah. If you do that for about 5 to 10 minutes, you will build some tone, right? Your vocal cords are similar. They need to be trained to be in perfect tone. And to get that tone, exercises like these kind of help you. Yeah. So I have a kind of a specific routine that I give to clients, usually about 30 to 45 minutes. 3 days in a row. Okay, remember this, 3 days in a row, 30 to 45 minutes every day. Where does this come in handy? If you have to make that big presentation in front of people, if you have to land that job, or you might be a blogger or whatever, right? If you want to make a huge impact on people, work on this. Build your vocal muscle. Yeah. That is the first thing. So that is where exercises like this come in. Now, I can tell you something from my personal experience. If I'm giving a talk, in the last 10 years, I cannot recall one moment when I've given an important talk in front of a lot of people where I've not done a vocal warm up before going into this audience. What I usually do is anywhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour, at least for 3 days in a row, when I have a big event or a big speech coming up. Yeah. So try to do that, and that will change your game. So I hope that that kind of introduces you to some interesting things. Now, here's something that will be useful. Now let's say that you didn't have time, okay? Or you had the time, you did the vocal warm-ups, but your speech is going to come up, or you want to go to the mic and you want to ask a question, okay? You're sitting there in the audience, you're looking around. Let's say you're at a convention or you're at a conference and somebody is giving a talk, and at the end of it, they will ask you to come up to the mic and ask questions. You want to show up, you want to go to the mic, and you want to kind of ask a great question so that people notice you, that you're there and whatnot, right? Then how do you sound good in that moment? How do you sound confident? So there are a few things that you can do while you're sitting there, as you wait for your turn. The first thing is called stream breathing. Okay, it goes like this. And these are all covert exercises. Covert meaning you can do this while you're sitting in a group of people and nobody will know that you're actually doing this. Yeah, because everybody is looking at the speaker and so on. So the stream breathing goes like this. You'll take a deep breath and you will just let a steady stream of air escape your lips. It's almost like a hissing sound. It's like this. Do you get that? I'm making that sound deliberately, but if you're sitting in a group, you won't make that sound. But just doing that for 5 minutes circulates your air, it kind of inflates your diaphragm. And when you go to the kind of the mic, you will end up sounding really, really smooth. Okay. The screen is frozen. Let me. Oh, damn. Okay. For some reason, the screen is frozen. Okay, let me try and restart. Oh yeah, it's my new great webcam. Technology. Um, as I restart the thing, thank you for letting me know, by the way, yeah, that my video is frozen. So let me come back online for you. Um, as I come back online, should be able to notice me right about now. Is my video back up? Okay, you should be able to see me now. Are you able to see me now? Not yet. Huh. How about now? Okay, good. Yeah, technology, so that's really a limitation we have. Now, where were we? Okay, so let me come back to the presentation. So you should be able to see the presentation right about now. I know we are going to run over time by about 5 to 10 minutes, but I promise you, yeah, I'm not wasting your time, I hope. I'm going to share with you some very important techniques that you need to know. Okay. and it will help you prepare speeches very quickly. So the first thing we talked about was stream breathing. Yeah, you can do it very covertly, very silently. Let's say you're on a camera, nobody will notice it because you're muted, right? The second thing you can do, let's say you're on a virtual call, okay? You're on one of those Teams meetings or Zoom meetings, and you're listening to somebody speak. Just do this. Just hum your favorite sound, hum your favorite song, because your mouth is going to be closed, you're on mute. One of my favorite songs is from Lion King. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight, that one. Yeah. So I would just kind of mute myself and I would just be humming. What I'm trying to do in that moment is trying to feel my chest voice. Yeah. If you do that for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and then you open up your mic and you speak, you will notice the difference. Yeah. So these are some things you can do to play with your voice. Now let's come to preparing the content. Yeah. So that's the delivery part. The second part is preparing the content. So I'm going to go through very quickly some methods to prepare your content. The first one is called the format model. Format model, it has 4 parts. The first part is called the why, the second part is the what, the third part is the how, and the fourth part is the what if somebody gives you a topic very quickly and you have only 10 minutes, okay, you have only 10 minutes. So let's say you are, for example, I work in medical therapeutic areas, right? Sometimes people will come and tell me, in 2 hours we need to talk about Parkinson's, and I need you to can you please deliver a quick talk. Yeah, this is one of those moments. That's when you use the format model. When you don't have much time, um, you want to go through this. First of all, you want to talk about why this is important to the audience. Yeah. Why do they need to listen? You want to make it personal, relevant, establish the why behind it. Simon Sinek wrote a book known as Start with Why. And to condense all of the teaching, it's simply people want to know what's in it for them. Why should they listen to you? Why is it important to them? Start with why. Yeah, so that is the why part. The second part after the why is the what. Yeah, so you're going to talk about the key facts just to explain what you're talking about. Okay. The third part is the how to. Yeah, so you talked about the why, you talked about what it is. Now we are going to talk about the how to, the mechanics of how everything is going to work. Okay. And the fourth part is what if. You want to paint the vision of future possibility. What if this happens really well? What does it look like? Talk about the implications, the consequences. Sometimes people may have fears. You may want to address that in that fourth part. Okay. So that's the format model. You can come up with a speech very quickly. You can even use AI, by the way. Just ask it to use the format model, or just say, I have this topic, talk about the why, the what, the how, and the what if. And it will come up with a speech outline. Ask it to create a speech outline. Yeah, it'll come up with a speech outline, and it always lands. So that's a very quick way of doing it. And you will cover most parts of whatever you need to cover by going with the format model. So whenever you are having a time crunch, somebody said in the chat section, they mentioned that they always run out of time, or they have this kind of problem with time management. Go with the format model, the why, the what, the how, and the what if. That will help you manage time very nicely. Yeah. And the second thing is, it's very hard to estimate the amount of time it will take to present. It's very hard. So if it's a very high stakes meeting, please practice and time yourself at least once, at least once. Now, the second way of crafting a compelling message and a talk is called the 3-point message model. It's simply this. You will start with a compelling opening. So this could be a story, it could be a statistic, or it could be a question. Okay, a story, a statistic, or a question. You start with this. Then you will break down your key messages into 3 parts. So you will cover part 1, then you will cover part 2, and then you will cover part 3. Okay, those are the 3 parts that form the bulk of the message. And then you will deliver a powerful closing. This is also very quick. Let's say somebody is calling you into a meeting, you need to talk about something, it's not your turn yet. You have 5 to 10 minutes. Pull out your paper and start using either the format model or the 3 point message model. Yeah, sometimes you will have this. People will go around the room and they will say, so what do you guys think about it? Please share your feedback. Yeah, this is one of those moments when you can come out looking really smart. Just pull out a paper and make quick points. So talk about what is the first thing you want to talk about, the opening thing, then the three main points, and the closing. Okay, so that's a second way of doing it. And it works very well for business presentations. The third way of telling stories or creating, a narrative, it's quotes telling. Quotes telling. What is it? Quotes telling. You take a quote and you tell it. So how does it work? This is a way of creating a story. Okay, so let's say you're at a business gathering, okay, or you've been asked to give a talk. Go to the internet or go to AI and ask it to give you a list of powerful quotes for this setting. Okay, go there and your prompt is this: I am going to a meeting where I need to deliver a talk on XYZ. My audience is ABC. I want to give the important message of 1, 2, 3. Give me a few quotes that are powerful to start my story. Okay, that's the prompt. You can type it in AI or you can just go to Google and search for quotes. Yeah, it will give you a list of quotes. Now, what you do is take that quote and look at the person who came up with that quote. Okay, so then you can go and do a little bit of background research and ask AI again. Say, give me a few interesting facts about this person. It will tell you a few interesting facts. Learn about the speaker's journey a little bit. Think about how it reflects what you are thinking and link that to your core message. So this is a reverse way of storytelling. Yeah. Usually people start with the person and that's a very lengthy way of doing things. A very quick way of doing things is go first find a quote that will tell exactly what you want to tell and turn that into a story. Yeah. Let me give you an example. What example can I give you? Yeah. So there was this founder of Tripod. Was it Tripod? There was this very famous company back in the 1990s. Yeah. And there was the founder, and he said there were many, many businesses that he tried, and most of the businesses he tried failed. But there was this one business that he started, and he noticed that the checks kept on coming in. And then he spotted the opportunity and he said to himself, I'm getting lucky. And one of the things he said in his talks was, I was smart enough to know when I was getting lucky. Eventually, this guy went on to cash his stock and he sold it just before the dot-com bubble and he made about $500 million. Yeah. So there you have it in a very simple way. All you wanted to say there was, I was smart enough to know when I was getting lucky. That's the quote. You want people to focus in and understand when they are getting lucky with a certain thing and focus on that. Yeah. So you're building a story around it. You can do this with any type of quote. Okay. So that's quotes telling. That's the third part of it. The fourth one is storytelling. Okay. I wanted to play this video for you guys, but we are 7 minutes over time. So let me try and play this very quickly. It's a video short. Okay, this is to show you how to use storytelling. Okay, so let's see.
Says, who are you visiting here? I said, my wife. And he says, is she an actress? And I said, yeah. said, would I know her? And I don't know, man. Her name's Emily Blunt. He goes, you? And I went, yeah. And he goes, you married Emily Blunt. And I go, yeah. And he goes like this. Okay, go. Let's go.
Okay. So let me come back to the presentation. So that's a very short story, and I wanted to kind of illustrate that for you to show you the storytelling technique. Yeah. So whenever you're telling a story, you want to first start by setting the scene. Talk about the location. Where is it happening? So in this example that we saw, this was at a passport counter. Yeah, this was an immigration he was clearing in Canada. Set the scene. Let the people imagine. Once you set this scene and you talk about the place, people will populate the place in their mind. People will start imagining the setting immediately. Second, use verbs to describe the action. For example, um, in this story exactly, he says, well, I was walking through this immigration counter, and I go there and I'm standing and I'm looking at him, and the immigration officer has this very strange look. He's looking at me and I don't know why he's staring at me, and he says, are you an actor? And I say, well, yes, I am an actor. And he says, are you married? And I say, yes, I'm married to somebody. And he asks me, are you married to somebody famous? And I said, yeah, I don't know if you know her. She is Emily Blunt. And the immigration officer looks at me with such a big stare and he says something, right? So he's using verbs. He looked at me, I looked at him, I was standing here. This was the expression. Okay, so verbs, verbs describing action that help propel the story. Third one is talk about the automatic thoughts. He's looking at me and I'm thinking, why is he staring at me? And all kinds of thoughts go through my mind. I think, have I done something wrong? Is it because I had a drink last night? Was there something mixed in my drink? Oh, my thoughts are going haywire. So you're talking about some of the automatic thoughts in your head. That's part of storytelling. The fourth part is the emotion. You could say, oh, at that moment, I felt such a strong relief in my heart when I learned that everything was going to be okay. You're describing the emotion. The fifth part you need to remember is use dialogues. A lot of dialogues are about he said, she said. For example, I was walking down the road, I went into the mall, and there was this very nice lady, and she was serving up this very nice soy milk, and she looked at me and she asked me, do you want your soy milk to be sweeter? And I said, yeah. And she said, do you want it to be medium or tall? And I said, well, I would like tall, but I think it's too expensive, so I will go with the medium. But the lady said, I really like you. You come here every day and you brighten my day. So I'm going to give you a tall one. Yeah. And she gave it to me for free. Now, what you're doing there is you're using dialogues. He said, she said, I said, you said. Okay. So that again makes the story very, very lively to hear. And finally, deliver the punchline. What is the thing that you want them to go away with? Yeah. So that is a very good storytelling technique. Set the scene, use verbs, share thoughts going through your head, talk about the emotions you feel, use dialogues, and finally deliver the punchline. Okay. Um, there is again a method of handling challenges and Q&A, but I think because we are running out of time, I'll just move to the next part, which is what can you do next? Yeah, what can you do next? If you like this topic, if you are really interested in this topic, let me know in the chats and comment section. I can focus in on each of these important parts again. Yeah. What you can do to improve your skills is speaking spells. Speaking skills is to join Toastmasters. Yeah, Toastmasters are available almost in every part. If you're dialing in from Singapore, Singapore at least has about 15 to 20 chapters. I used to be the vice president of one of these, clubs. So Toastmasters gives you an opportunity to make a 5-minute speech, and it allows you to deliver talks. And there is also a section where there is an impromptu speech or an icebreaker. Yeah, try attending these. Try giving 5-minute talks and use all the techniques that I'm talking about. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do things, for example, if you are a person who is kind of quiet, but you would like to, talk a little bit more, get those cards that are available on Amazon, on Shopee, wherever you have it. Get relationship cards deck or friendship cards deck. These are a deck of cards which have prompts on them. We have a program called as Deep Connection Blueprint, which allows you to create deep connections with your partner. In that, again, we have these set of cards, yeah, where you can ask very deep questions to your partner. But get these practice cards and record yourself. Record yourself answering these. Yeah, it will help you fine tune your language and how you speak. The third thing is you can use online prompts. For example, you can ask ChatGPT, if you have the app on your phone, you can whip up ChatGPT, uh, turn on the voice function and select the voice you like, and then say, I would like you to pretend like you are an English teacher and you are helping me improve my articulation and my diction. Okay, ask me a few questions. It could be about relationships or about any other topic, and I will speak. Please listen to me and give me feedback. Okay, so it will do it, and you can use that as well. Okay, so I will kind of pause here, and if you have any questions, please type it in the chat section. May I ask which Toastmasters club you're part of? Well, I'm not part of it now. I used to be part of it. I used to be part of Telok Blangah Toastmasters Club. I used to be a part of also another club, I think, which was in the central part of Singapore. They used to gather at Sheraton. I don't think Sheraton exists anymore. Um, but again, look, Toastmasters was one part of my life. I think it served its purpose, and I won a lot of prizes there, and I just stopped going there because I wanted to develop my long form of speech. Yeah, Toastmasters typically gives you 5-minute speeches. That's good for the beginning part, but after you get good at it, you want to look at your long form of speech. Yeah. Other questions, how to differentiate when to use format versus 3-point in a business scenario. Format is usually useful when you are going into a presentation where you don't have much time. Yeah. It's a very nice way of covering all the points. It's very useful. 3-point is usually good when you have to deliver an important speech, and you can go through 3 sections. You can craft those 3 sections. That's more of a time it depends on the amount of time you have. Okay. Again, in business scenarios, you need to again gauge this by the kind of audience you have. You can also use small stories. Now, in business settings, typically you don't want to go beyond 1 to 2 minute stories. But believe me, if you start with a 2-minute story in a business setting, that will set you apart from almost every single person. The common mistake that most people do is they go to business presentations without much preparation. Yeah, they don't put in that amount of time and effort. But those are some of the times when people are observing you. Yeah, you will not have many presentations during your business lifetime unless you need to do that as part of your job or whatever. But for most people, they will make only a few presentations, maybe 3 or 4 in a year in front of important people. That is your time to shine. Yeah, if you stand up there and deliver a stunning speech, that will set you apart from everybody else. That will make you memorable, and people will call you a talent. So remember the 1:25 rule. For every 1 minute, spend about 25 minutes. Time yourself before important speeches at least once. Yeah, that will help you. Um, if you have any other questions, you can type it in the section. But otherwise, we are coming to the end of this, seminar. One thing I ask from you, please leave a review. Yeah, if you go to meetup.com, if you go to the event page, or if you go to the main page, there is a section where you can go and leave a rating. That is something I really value. Because I put in a lot of effort and time into these presentations, and sometimes it's good for me to see how is it received. Yeah, and that really means a lot to me. So please take 1 to 2 minutes of your time and go leave an honest review, yeah, on this page, and that helps. If you have any other questions, you can also type it in our Telegram group. I don't know if you guys are part of my Telegram group. I will again leave that link here. You can just join using this link, or you can also go to the events page, and there is a link on the events page as well. Yeah, so you can join here, and the the recording is available. Yeah, within 2 days. But I really encourage you to join live because that's where you can interact and ask questions. Do you have a greater mission or vision that motivates you when giving a speech? Do I have a great vision or mission or vision? So here's the thing. For me, it's always been about differentiating myself. So, okay, there are two things I do. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I'm also in the private sector. Yeah, I'm in research and development for some big multinational companies. And believe me, this is not my real job. Yeah, this is something I do as a passion and a hobby, and to help people. Yeah, and to give back to the community. But my main job, my bread and butter, comes from corporate. Yeah, corporate gigs, corporate things. The bigger scene and motivation for me there is to progress really fast. Progress really fast. That is one thing. The second thing is to protect myself against any kind of cuts they make for saving money. Yeah. Because people have in their mind, they think about who is a talent and who is not. So your speaking gigs or speaking opportunities will really differentiate you. And I want to inspire people. That's also part of the thing, part of the story. I want people to listen to my talk and feel like that was time well spent. I enjoyed that talk. I enjoyed spending time with that person. I really enjoyed the story they told me. Wow, that message they shared, it really landed. Yeah, to be memorable. So that's if I have to sum it up in one word or one sentence, my greater mission would be I would say, again, it may differ from person to person. I would say my mission is to make my talks memorable. I wouldn't want to be one of those people that just shows up and, forgettable, right? You don't want to be that. You want to matter. You want to make an impact, right? Okay. So if you need personal coaching, you can always go to my website, psychologymd.com. You can directly book a session. There is a link there. You can use the calendar and you can talk to me privately if you need personal coaching, if you need me to look at your speaking and help you with tips. It could be anxiety, it could be any kind of thing. Yeah. Otherwise, I will see you in next month's talk. Yeah, and I would like to thank you for joining in today. And I wish you a great evening. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful evening and have a great dinner. Okay, I'll see you see you guys soon, and bye bye.